Good evening. Welcome to all. We got another good crowd again tonight, and that's always encouraging to us, so we appreciate everybody being here. And this Poquoson City Council meeting is now called to order. Item B on our agenda is the invocation, Pledge of Allegiance, which will be led by Vice Mayor Debbie Bunting.
I'll stand, please, for the prayer and Pledge of Allegiance. Dear Lord, we enter your gates with thanksgiving and praise tonight. Pray that you would be with each of us tonight, those of us here on the council, those of us here in the audience, Father, that came out tonight to listen as we conduct the business of our city and to participate in it as well. Father, I pray that you would give us guidance and wisdom, and that we always seek your guidance and wisdom as we deliberate the business of this city, as the citizens today, tomorrow, and years to come, after those of us that are here on this council right now are not even sitting here anymore, Father. So we need to be mindful, to be very serious about the business that we conduct. We ask your help in that. Father, we pray that you'd be with those serving in the military, the men and women that are serving away from their families, here at home and abroad, wherever they may be. I pray that you will keep them in your safety, your protection, Father. We ask all these things in the name of Jesus. Amen. Allegiance now. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Debbie. Item C on our agenda is the audience for visitors. At this time, we will open the floor for public comment related to the city, not to include the items that we'll address in just a little while in the public hearing. All right, seeing none, we will close the floor and we'll move on to item D, approval of the minutes of the work session of March 9th, 2026. Do we have a motion and a second?
So moved, Mr. Mayor.
Second.
Thank you. Questions or comments? Christie?
Councilwoman Hubbard?
Aye.
Councilman Southall?
Aye.
Councilman Freeman?
Aye.
Councilwoman Emmett?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Bunting?
Aye.
Councilman Thigh?
Aye.
Mayor Hux?
Aye.
Mr. Mayor, the motion carried by a vote of 7-0.
Thank you, Christie. Do we have a motion and a second for approval of the minutes of the regular session from March 9th, 2026?
So moved, Mr. Mayor.
Second.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? Christie?
Councilman Southall? Councilman Freeman? Councilwoman Hubbard?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Bunting?
Aye.
Councilman Thigh?
Aye.
Councilwoman Emmett?
Aye.
Mayor Hux? Mr. Mayor, the motion carried by a vote of 7-0.
Thank you, Christie. Moving on to item E is old business. This is an ordinance authorizing the issuance of up to $5,800,000 principal amount of a general obligation and refunding bond of the city of Poquoson, Virginia, and providing for the form, details, and payment thereof. We have with us tonight, and we're very pleased that she's here with us again, our Assistant City Manager, Ms. Tanya O'Connell.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council Member, City Manager. Tonight we bring back to you an old business. If you recall, last meeting we held the public hearing as it relates to the debt issuance for the Poquoson High School roof replacement. We're seeking up to $3 million of debt issuance, as well as a refinancing of the 2025 debt issuance related to schools as well. That was the HVAC project. But tonight I have Kyle Lux here from Davenport to present the results of the bids that he received from the banks.
Thank you very much, Tanya, Mr. Mayor, members of council. Nice to see everybody. As always, this, as Ms. O'Connell mentioned, is really a continuation of where we started earlier in the calendar year with this process. We think we have good results here tonight that we'll present to you, certainly answer any questions Mayor, you and members of council have along the way. We do have a presentation up on the screen that we'll walk you through, and I believe there's hard copies of this for the council members at the dais. So again, as the city's financial advisor, We were here last on February 9th. Time flies here, a little bit warmer now, which is nice. Really to go forward with a two-part financing, as Tanya just mentioned. We've got some new money for the new roof for the high school and also a refinancing of a loan we took out just last year, which tells you how important the prepayment flexibility is. When we talk about these different financings that you do year over year, that's a very important consideration. So since that time period, we've gone out, we've done the competitive bidding, and we've also applied to the Virginia Public School Authority. So we've talked about that dual track process. The first track, if you will, is a competitive bidding to banks. That's to local banks, regional banks, national banks. Everybody has the same look at it. We've got very good results and follow through there that we'll talk you through. Call that track A. The second track is applying to what's called the Virginia Public School Authority, that we shortened to VPSA, longstanding state pool program. What that pool program does is they pool together loans for school projects for local governments across the state, and they issue bonds in the public credit markets on behalf of those local governments. And so what we're really talking about are two different markets, if you will, insofar as we have the banking marketplace, commercial banks that you'll see the names in a couple pages, and access to the public credit markets that you as a city have had access to in the past. And VPSA in this instance just provides a nice avenue to those public credit markets through a state program. So we've gone through that whole process. In the early part of March, we got the bank bids back, and we'll walk you through the results and our recommendation here in the next couple pages. So on page 2, sticking with the first of the two tracks here, the bank results. Again, a competitive process here. I think the first thing that you see as you look at the top of the page here is the city had very nice follow through from the banking marketplace. We had 6 different institutions competitively bidding or competing for the business of the city. And you see them listed there at the top of the page. We've purposely highlighted Town Bank. We'll explain why that is at the top, so it's not in alphabetical order. But beyond that, you have Atlantic Union, Truist, Webster, Huntington, and Capital One. And so what you see are several banks that I would classify as more local, so your towns, your Atlantic Unions, with Virginia domiciled lenders in that way. Truist is a much larger bank, but largely regional. And some of your national lenders would be the Webster banks, the Huntingtons, and the Capital One. So a very nice cross-section of different types of institutions, again, competing for the city's business. At the bottom of the page, we've highlighted that Town Bank bid. And the first thing you'll note there is the interest rate. That interest rate is 3.69. That is a very, very solid, very, very good interest rate. One thing I failed to mention on the prior page is that the 2025 loan that we're looking to refinance has an interest rate of 4.27. And so that loan last year, 4.27, what we're talking at this year with this new Town Bank loan is a 3.69. So very substantially lower in terms of interest rate relative to where we were last year. That'll provide some nice savings over the initial term of the loan to the city. The other element of this, that maybe is a little bit unique, but we'll explain why we like this, is this will be a 20-year loan. And so when we're financing capital projects for the city, they're paid for over a longer useful life because the assets that we're financing are going to be around for generations to come. So we've got a 20-year loan in total. This Town Bank option, this Town Bank loan, the rate is fixed for the first 10 of those 20 years. And so we know definitively that's what it is per the bank for basically the first decade of the loan itself. So the second half of that loan, we'll need to refinance it, pay it off, or do something like that for the second decade, if you will, of the loan. But, and this is a very important piece, if you look at the far right-hand column, or the bottom right table there, the loan is prepayable in whole or in part anytime without penalty. And so what you're really able to do is lock into a very, very low, very favorable fixed rate for 10 years with the ability to refinance, pay it off a little bit quicker without any penalty at any time over the next decade. So we're really locking in that 10-year time period at a very low, very favorable interest rate, knowing that at any point over the next decade, whether we're out in the market financing some other project, which at some point the city will be out financing something else, or if rates come down a little bit further, We've got multiple bites at the apple in terms of thinking about that second 10 years of the loan. And so that's an important consideration. It's really the combination of the interest rate that's so favorable, along with the very, very flexible prepayment provisions in terms of why we like that option from Town Bank. The other bank bids, just for reference, in the back of your packet, they were in the mid 4% range. And so anything that was going to be a 20-year fixed rate was in the low to mid 4% range. And so as we looked at that 369, knowing the city's in very good shape, knowing that at some point in the next 10 years you'll be in the market, whether it's to finance a new project or maybe to do another refinancing, you'll have multiple bites at the apple for purposes of call it the second half of this loan. And so that then gets us to the comparison to VPSA, which is that state program, again, the Virginia Public School Authority, that issues in the public markets on behalf of local governments. So you see where on the right-hand table, there's a bunch of numbers on this page, but I'll take your eye to the table kind of top right there. There's a VPSA estimate that says 346, and there's a town bank estimate that says 369. So the town bank rate is the same rate we just talked about, that's a 369. The VPSA is a 346, but that is very much an estimate. You don't actually know what that rate is until VPSA enters the credit markets, sells their bonds, and locks it in. So what we know is that over the course of the last month, given the events in the Middle East, given pressures on oil prices, nervousness about inflation, is rates in that public marketplace have been going up. And so we've seen both volatility and interest rates being pushed up in the public markets, which is where VPSA borrows. So that 346 is actually closer to about a 365 today. We ran that last week. And even the last couple days, we've lost 15 plus basis points. Lost, meaning the rates went higher in that marketplace between when we ran this just last week and we're here this evening. So another reason we like that town bank option is we know what that rate is. We can lock it in, we're set for the next decade, and we're not subject to the whims and floating with the market, given all the events happening in the world right now. And again, we're seeing a lot of volatility and upward pressure on rates given some of the inflationary concerns. And so that's sort of the comparison there between VPSA and town bank. The other advantage that town has for the city is getting back to that prepayment flexibility. So as you think about a 20-year loan, the life cycle of the city and capital projects that you'll be doing this year and years in the future, there's going to be a need or a desire to refinance, repay, maybe pay something off a little bit quicker. The VPSA program, once you're in that program, you're kind of effectively kind of in that program. The loan is really run by the state. If it's going to be refinanced, it really is subject to the discretion of VPSA. So we also like the control that you as a city retain with the bank loan via town bank. It's both flexibility and control, keeps that in your hands as a city council on a going forward basis. Page number 4 just shows a graph of what we've seen in tax-exempt markets since the beginning of the calendar year. And again, this is the public markets where VPSA would borrow. And so what you've really seen on the far right-hand side, you just kind of look at that graph there, really since the outbreak of hostilities in the Middle East, you've seen rates just start to jump up. That even could be updated again as of just Friday, as rates popped up again. And so we like that bird in hand, lock the rate in, you know what that is, you're set for 10 years with prepayment flexibility. It's very flexible going forward with that town bank loan. So that gets us to page number 5, the rationale here. I should note at the top there, you see that 369 rate, all of the planning that was done for the city, for your budget, for your CIP, with the manager, with Tanya, is at 5%. And so right now we're going to be locking in at 369. The planning was done at 5%. So you're about 130 basis points or thereabouts lower than what was estimated for budget planning purposes. And so again, you see the rest of the rationale there. The only action of City Council that is needed, subject to obviously any discussion, questions that you have, is an approval of the resolution that Jesse Bausch, who's in the audience with Sands Anderson, can go over any details. Town Bank has completed their credit approval. They've been a lender to the city in the past and a good partner that way. So we need to get to final credit approval. We're not per se worried about that in the short run, but we'll need to kind of work through that process. And then again, the prepayment flexibility we think is very, very important. That leads us to next steps. Again, you've held the public hearing as per the legal requirement. And so this really is the last action that is needed of City Council. Over the balance of March, by the early part of April, we'd be working on the final documents, final credit approval, those things, closing funds in hand for the roof project, and we'd also refinance that existing loan, again, from 427 to a 369 interest rate. And you'd have all those numbers such that as you work through the 2027 budget, you'll know definitively what those payments are for purposes of budget planning. So with that, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, happy to answer questions that you have or providing additional detail.
Council members, any questions or comments for Kyle?
Yes, I do. As I understand it, the VESPA rate is estimated right now, and it's probably higher than what we see published on this piece of paper.
As of today, it is higher.
Okay, and if we take the town bank estimate, then we're locked in at 3.69 for the first decade.
That's correct.
Okay, and the second decade, we have our options whether to continue within the current rate or to pay off or whatever.
That's correct. That's exactly right.
Okay, now, my final question is, we are taking on additional financing while our debt service is going down. Will this negatively impact our AAA bond rating?
No, we don't think so. By virtue of everything you're doing as a city overall, meaning structurally balanced budgets, maintaining fund balance and compliance with your policies, as well as all the planning you do for the CIP and debt, no, we don't see any negative impact to the AAA rating.
Very good, thank you.
Basically, two questions. One, how much is this going to save us over the long haul that we're doing this?
Yep.
And how much in the way of fees that's not in here are we going to have to pay?
It's about $330,000 in terms of savings, the majority of which will help you over the next couple budget years, which is those 2 budget years before your debt service falls off. Yep, and any of the costs and fees are all baked into the numbers, so that's all fully in there in terms of any costs and fees and cost of issuance and all that kind of good stuff. There's
Okay.
nothing in addition.
Built in there. Okay, great, thanks.
Keith? Angie?
Yes, and at the, one of the pages where it kind of lists some of the terms for Webster Bank, Town Bank, and that, the rates for the Town Bank are going to be held till March 31st, but it says that we don't close until April 7th. Is that just a logistics? Okay.
Yeah, so pending, City Council's action this evening, we'll let town know we're going forward. That allows them to kind of get things set internally, and then we just need to work on the documentation of that early April time period.
And it'll still be locked in
Correct.
at that. Perfect, thank you.
Kyle, could you please share with us, just for public information, the importance of our AAA bond rating when it comes to matters such as this?
Yeah, absolutely. So these bonds don't necessarily have a rating associated with them, but that doesn't mean that all of these lenders and VPSA, but really all these private lenders are looking at the credit quality of the city when they're putting a bid in. And so when any of these banks, whether it's Town Bank or Atlantic Union or Webster, they're all going to go do their due diligence, as any banker would. They're going to look at your financials. But this credit rating gives them that good housekeeping seal of approval that Poquoson is an entity that is good credit that you would want to be lending dollars to, and it gives them that comfort level. They can give you really good cutting-edge pricing, which I think is what we've gotten here. So even though these bond issues aren't rated themselves, there's still very much a value to those credit ratings in the process and the pricing you end up getting.
Well, thank you for that, and that AAA bond rating is the highest that standards and poor used when identifying credit rating of localities. Then we have the 1 AA from Moody's, which is the second highest.
That's correct.
And what I've learned over my years of public service, a small bedroom community like Poquoson having a AAA bond rate, as I've used this joke before, but it's kind of like a leprechaun riding a unicorn. It's somewhere between rare and unique. And for this, we are truly thankful. And just so the public understands, when we go out for bonds like this, we have, again, 6 different lending institutions competing for our business. And that results in this excellent credit rating of 3.69 that Kyle's been talking about. And while I'm on the subject, every chance I get, I like to remind everybody that comes to the meetings and watching from home, the layer upon layer upon layer of financial advice that we get. We do not make decisions in vacuums. We have Kyle. He is a senior vice president with Davenport and Company. Davenport and Company go back to the 1860s. So this is certainly a top-tier financial institution, and we're grateful for your contributions to the city. And we also have with us Ms. Jessie Bosch. He is an attorney with Sands Anderson. They are our bond counsel. Sands Anderson goes back to the 1840s. So again, another top-tier financial agency that we work with.
We've got about a couple of years.
Yeah.
We might have a couple, I don't know, we could talk about it. But yeah, I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor.
No, that's okay. I'd just like to remind the public of the emphasis that we put on good stewardship of the tax dollars that people invest in the city. The extent that we go to for stewardship, in addition to our exceptional financial staff in-house, we have Davenport, we have Sands Anderson, we also have our city attorney, Mr. Wayne Moore, in addition to his many decades of legal expertise. He's also very adept when it comes to financial matters as well. And Mr. Moore, if you wouldn't mind weighing in your opinion of what we're getting ready to vote on tonight?
It would be a little unreasonable for me to say that Sands Anderson didn't prepare these legal documents correctly, since they have way more knowledge than I do. But I have reviewed the documents, and I will certainly be prepared to execute my part, which would be my city attorney's opinion letter as part of the bond. I certainly don't have any problem with any of the legal documentation.
Thank you, Mr. Moore, for weighing in. Your opinion obviously carries a great deal of weight in this community. Certainly do appreciate that. Also, I'd like to remind folks that Kyle works all day in Richmond, then he drives down here and helps us through these matters at our meetings. Then he drives back to Richmond. He's got to get up and go to work first thing tomorrow morning. So Kyle, appreciate your personal interest and your dedication. And Mr. Bosch, I think, are y'all out of Richmond as well? I thought so. So again, thank you for coming down after working all day and spending time with us, and then having to drive home and get up and go to work first thing tomorrow morning. So we do appreciate this, and I think the fruits of your labor are pretty self-evident in the financial condition that the city is in right now. Can't thank y'all enough.
We thank you.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate it.
Well, council members, before I ask for a motion, any other questions or comments on this?
Mr. Mayor, I propose an ordinance authorizing the issue of up to $5,800,000 principal amount of a general obligation and refunding bond for the city of Poquoson, Virginia, and providing for the form, details, and payment thereof.
Second.
Thank you. Christie, call for vote, please.
Vice Mayor Bunting?
Aye.
Councilman Fye?
Aye.
Councilman Southall?
Aye.
Councilman Freeman?
Aye.
Councilwoman Hubbard?
Abstain.
Councilwoman Emmett?
Aye.
Mayor Hucks?
Aye.
Mr. Mayor, the motion carried by a vote of 6-0 with 1 abstention.
Thank you, Christie. Well, that concludes our old business under item E, and we will move on to item F, public hearing. We have 4 separate public hearings tonight, and I'll open and close each one individually. So at this time, we will open the public hearing for an ordinance making additional appropriations for fiscal year 2026 for transferring from general fund and capital project fund balances to debt service fund for future service payment. And Assistant City Manager Tanya O'Connell is back with us again to give us a briefing on this, after which we will open the floor for public comment.
Perfect,
So
thank
Tanya?
you. Again, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council Members, City Manager, I bring forth to you tonight an ordinance making transfers from the general fund, capital projects fund, into the debt service. If you think about it, the city manager has prepped you over the few years about the debt trough that we should see in FY 2029. And for those who are listening at home and who are in the audience, the city has a mortgage that we have to pay each year. And the mortgage is going to go down for us in 2029. So in order to level our payments for the next 2 years prior to that 2029, we're asking for that amount of money to pay for those next 2 years to keep us level. Currently, the general fund transfers $3.9 million each year to the debt service. What I'm asking tonight is an issuance of $1.3 million from the general fund undesignated fund balance, $758,000 from the capital project fund, and that's related to debt interest that we've earned on debt throughout the years, and that does qualify to pay down future debt as well. A total of $2,058,000 will go into that reserve to pay for future payments. So if you think about it, I'm going to lessen the transfer from the general fund from 3.9 to 3.3, utilizing the reserves that you provide me today to pay for the next 2 years to make sure that payment is made. So as the mayor mentioned, our AAA and our AA stays intact. So I'm available for any questions, as well as Kyle Lux has hung around to make sure if you have any questions of Davenport. I will note, for consideration, if y'all do decide to move forward on the ordinance, I did happen to look at that under Section 1. The amount I am asking from the general fund is 1.3. It's incorrectly noted at 1.2. So if the motion is made, if we could just make that motion to correct under Section 1.
Thank you, Tanya. Council members, any questions or comments for Tanya?
Could you define future service payments?
So future service payments will be that we make in 2027 and 2028.
Or,
Our mortgage. So our mortgage right now, if I decrease the transfers from the general fund from 3.9 to 3.3, that transfer does not cover the mortgage payments that I need. Therefore, the reserve that you're providing me tonight will pay for that additional payment. So where I need 3.9 to pay for next year's mortgage, the 3.3 that I'm asking with the general fund through the budget will not cover it. Therefore, I need this fund balance to pay for it. So you think about it, when you get paid each year or each day, you know how much you have to pay for your mortgage. And if you don't have enough to pay for the mortgage, you go into your savings account. So what I'm doing is I'm doing a savings account for the next 2 years, and when I need it, I'm going to draw from that savings account to pay for the mortgage.
and then in 3 years,
We are level.
your level, you don't have that cost.
We no longer have that mortgage or that debt that's considered at that point. Because remember, in 2029, if you remember our bell curve, we're up here and then we drop. So we'll level out in 2029 with our mortgage payments be $3.3 million.
Question. So with the savings account analogy that you gave, does that mean that we're earning money on that money while it's sitting out?
Believe it or not, it's the same money that we're earning in the general fund.
Okay.
So long as we don't use it, we'll absolutely be earning money on it.
No loss of money earned?
No, ma'am.
Got it.
But you said as long as we don't use it,
Correct.
but the whole idea is to use it.
And the way our mortgage payments are, the first one is an interest payment that we do in August. So that's a minor payment that we have. The big payment comes in February. So we'll have all the way through February of the the future year before we have to really use the big money.
Any other questions or comments? for Tanya. One thing I would like to add, the city is so fortunate to be in a position. We have a self-imposed minimum amount in our unrestricted general fund balance of 12 to 15%. Right now, we are running in excess of percent. And one thing that this does is it helps us qualify for that AAA bond rating that saves us money. So this is all circular. So right now, we are running more than double our self-imposed minimum. So by drawing off relatively small amount of funds from our general fund to pay down this debt in advance until we get to the debt trough in fiscal year 29, which is only 2 years away. We're planning on 7. We still have about 30% or close to that left over, even after we draw it down a little bit.
And that's correct.
That gives me a very high level of comfort doing that, and I think this is putting that unrestricted general fund balance to very good use. But I just want to share that for the public.
And may I add one thing we want to consider too? We do not want to use our undesignated fund balance for ongoing expenditures. So therefore, when we look to use our fund balance, we make sure we one-time things, and this would qualify.
Thank you, Tanya.
Question, just a 101 question. The numbers that you presented here, so we had originally, for planning purposes, for these new bonds, the 5%, and now it's 3.69. Does that affect these numbers very much that we're looking at for this particular transfer?
When I did this particular transfer, I took in that consideration of the 3.69.
All right, thanks.
Council members, any other questions or comments? All right, well, at this time, I'll open the floor for public comment related to this particular ordinance. Okay, seeing none, we will close the floor, and I'll ask for a motion in a second.
Mr. Mayor, I propose an ordinance making additional appropriations for fiscal year 2026 for transferring from general fund and capital project fund balances to debt service fund, future service payments.
Second.
Thank you. Christie?
Councilwoman Emmett. Councilwoman Hubbard.
Aye.
Councilman Fye.
Aye.
Councilman Southall.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Bunting.
No.
Councilman Freeman.
Aye.
Mayor Hucks.
Aye.
Mayor, the motion carried by a vote of 6 to 1.
Thank you, Christie. So with that, the public hearing for this topic is now closed, and we will open the public hearing for the next topic, which is a resolution for approval or denial of a conditional zoning request of tax map parcels 27-10-00-0005, 27-09-00-0002, 27-01-00-0087, 27-01-00-0086 to rezone from village commercial to conditional R3, which is high-density residential development. And the city manager, Randy Wheeler, is going to give us a briefing on this. Randy?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. The next two public hearings on your agenda this evening both relate to a rezoning request and associated comprehensive plan amendment for an application submitted by Mr. Bob Moses and Mr. Albert Sidney White, both of whom are in attendance this evening and seated over Mr. Horton's right shoulder. As these items were subject to a detailed work session at your last meeting, Mr. Horton his capacity as Director of Community Development, will be doing a summary presentation for the benefit of those that are here and watching at home. Staff is available to answer questions at the conclusion of his presentation or following the public hearing, whichever you would prefer. I did note that both Mr. Moses and Mr. White are here. Should you have any questions for them, I'm sure they would be happy to take them following the public hearing. Thank you.
Thank you, Randy. We have with us Mr. Wiley Horton. He is the Director of Community Development. He's going to give us a presentation. So, Wiley, thank you for being here. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Ms. Vice Mayor, members of council, city manager, and people in attendance here tonight and watching from home. My intention is not to rehash every slide from the last time, but we did get together on March 9th and had a fairly detailed work session to go over this proposal. So I will begin. I'm not going to repeat that again. You did it once. That's enough. But these are the 4 parcels that we're talking about, these starred parcels. The ones on the east side, what I'll call the east side of the EDA pond, will be, are proposed for 38 townhomes. The ones on the west side of the EDA pond are proposed for 28 duplex dwellings. Here's an aerial over on the other side, which shows you that the 2 parcels on the west side of the EDA pond are pretty well wooded. The other parcels adjacent to West Creek Road on the east side of the pond are basically grass. Okay, talk a little bit about the expired plans. There's a lot of expired plans here. This goes all the way back to 2012, basically where, where basically Phase 1 and Phase 2 were approved. There was rezoning to village commercial. There was also a comp plan amendment to go to village commercial. And there was also a conditional use permit that allowed a second floor to be added on top of the commercial use, which would be the ground floor. So it's basically a 2-to-1 ratio. And later in 2006, there was another rezoning on the other end of the property where Phase 3 is. Phase 3 and 4 went through several iterations of conditional use permits, but they wound up with a 2-to-1 ratio as well. That's what was approved back in February of 2020. So basically, if this had come to pass, we would have had 52 residential units at 62,600 square feet. And we would have had 35,600 square feet of commercial space. Again, less than a 2-to-1 ratio, slightly less, or 2/3 of the development. Needless to say, this did not happen except for Phase 1, where the building was built. So we have an alternate proposal from Mr. Moses, who believes that the residential units will be more easily marketable, and he'll be able to get funded for those more easily than for the commercial use. So just what I said a minute ago, you've got 38 townhome units on this side. You got the clubhouse right here. Access will be from a new access off of Webb Creek Road, about 24 feet wide. And you will have a circulation of traffic coming onto Alphas Road, where you see this little curb cut right there. That's basically the story of that. Now, you have in your detailed proposal the architectural renderings. You have the front, the floor plans, and the rears. I don't believe we included all these here. I did what I always do. And then 14 two-story, 2-family dwellings on the backside. Which you can see right here. I will say that this road back here will have to be improved to a public street as part of the site plan. This will all be subject to a site plan. comprehensive plan considerations, I think I can boil this down to one thing. If the council approves the conditional rezoning to R3, it makes sense to approve the comprehensive plan that will denote this area as high density. If the council chooses not to approve, and there's approval and denial motions in your packets there, if the council chooses not to approve, then it would not make any sense to do a comprehensive plan amendment. I guess these two kind of go together. Ingress and egress, I'll talk just briefly about that. As I said earlier, the ingress to the townhomes will be up with Creek. The primary ingress or egress to the duplexes will be through a new public street. TIA, just briefly, the submitted traffic impact analysis does indicate that this traffic would be able to be handled with a level of service of A or B, which basically is a stable flow. A is basically free flowing. You don't even have to worry about the person next to you. B, you may notice the person next to you. There was one recommendation in order to keep it level A and B, and that is the applicant has provided a concept layout which shows the 24-foot ingress egress off of With Creek that I pointed out a little earlier. Following 4 items have been proffered by the applicant, and I'll beg your indulgence here while I read these out. The units will be age restricted to 55 and over. The applicant shall grant a future 20-foot wide easement in the area shown on the presentation by Robert Moses. Consider the Alpha Street extension corridor on the tax pin numbers 0086 and 0087 for lining up with the yet to be determined 20-foot driveway coming from the parcel to the west, which Iowa incorporated the gun range. Indoor gun range. The applicant will provide a connector easement to connect the properties on the west side of the EVA pond to the properties on the east side of the EVA pond. And the overall layout, which again, you have all the drawings in your memo, but the overall layout, including all constructed buildings, shall be in conformance with the proposed layout and architectural renderings submitted as part of this development. And with that sort of brief run through, I'll be willing to take any questions you might have. And as the city manager pointed out, Mr. Moses is here, and his preparer of the transportation impact analysis, Mr. Bailey, I believe, is also in attendance.
Any questions or comments for Wally? Mr. Freeman?
We've had the village commercial overlay for several years on this property. There doesn't seem to be a big demand for that kind of business residence operation to me.
Yeah, and this might be a question better for Mr. Moses to answer, but as I understand it, his ability to market this has been, it's just not been very much in demand, as you say.
Wally, this was originally general commercial? Then it changed?
Before 2012, yes.
Then 2012 became village commercial?
It became village commercial.
So basically it was been commercial since day one in some form or other?
In some form or other, yeah.
Basically all we did was add some living units above the commercial for the village.
Right, which is a
aspect.
condition of the village commercial zoning ordinance. You get a 1-to-1 by right, but if you want to go 2-to-1, you have to get a conditional use permit.
And the planning commission said what?
The planning commission voted 4-2 to recommend denial of both the conditional rezoning and the comprehensive plan amendment.
Okay, thank you.
Wally, thank you for your contributions tonight, and I'd also like to extend our appreciation to Chairwoman Heather Schott and all of the planning commissioners. We appreciate their support, matter, and so many other things that they do for us.
I'll be sure to relay that message.
Thank you, Wally, I appreciate that. And with that, I'll open the floor for public comment related to this ordinance. This resolution, I should say. Welcome, Henry.
Thank you.
Good to see you.
Honorable Mayor and Manager and council members, other staff. I heard of course, first of all, I don't envy you guys' jobs, but I do envy you all for the jobs you're doing for this city. I've been there and it's not easy. You certainly don't do it for your health. I understand that. And speaking of health, I heard the health of the city with the AAA ratings is fantastic. It's always good to have that. It does a lot for the city. But the health of the citizens, the mental health, is also important. So I'm here to talk a little bit about that as pertaining to this ordinance. It's here the undercurrent of the city. The mental health is not great. You hear a lot of people that are concerned about a lot of things that are going on, and you always hear that. Some of it's true, some of it's not. Some in the middle is probably where it all belongs. When I was on council, I felt the need for the Legacy Project, and I voted for the Legacy Project. Right, wrong, or indifferent. At that time, if I'm not mistaken, there were village commercial businesses supposed to go in there to help offset some of the expenses, direct cost to the city. I don't believe there are any there. I don't know what happened to that. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe I misinterpreted that, maybe I did not remember that correctly, that there was going to be some businesses under there. I don't see any. I rode through there the other day, I didn't see any. We have so much high density over there, it's insane. I hope they will work on more things besides, I hope they vote no on this. I hope you guys will listen to the Planning Commission and deny this request until we can figure out multiple things. How do we get in and out of Poquoson? How do we fix that going in and out of York County? That should be done first before we continue just to put high density into this community. You can't get into a grocery store. You can't get to a drugstore. The schools, last I heard, they were overcrowded. Maybe they're not overcrowded anymore. The reason we did the Legacy is because they were undercrowded. Then I hear they're overcrowded. So I'm not really sure where that belongs. I probably should have done a little more homework on that. But when I was on council, and I did Planning Commission, I did zoning, I did school board, I did them all. And I wanted to give back to the community. I went to a small college because I went to a small high school because I liked the way the community felt. I built a retirement home in a small community because I liked the way the small community felt. The small feeling community of this town is disappearing. It's disappearing. We continue to build home after home after home, high density residential areas after residential area without truly having mental health of the community at stake as far as I'm concerned. So I hope you guys will look at this, and I'm a capitalist. I want anybody to make anything they can, any way they have to do it, as long as it's not going to be at the sake of the people we're here to support and look out for. So I do hope you guys will listen to the Planning Commission on this and deny this request. Thank you.
Henry, appreciate you being with us, buddy. Appreciate your previous service on council, board, and the Planning Commission as well. Council members, any questions, comments? Now, do we have any more speakers on this particular resolution? If I could add just a couple of quick comments. Right now, the schools, what they call ADM, or average daily membership, the enrollment is about 2,067. When I was a school board member in 2015, I think my last year was 2016, we had slightly below that number. We peaked in 2006 at 2,632 students. So I can state publicly with certainty the school system is nowhere near capacity. We need some students in the school system. This year, each student receives about $7,500 each in combined, mostly state and a little bit of federal tax revenue as well. So we certainly do need those students. So just wanted to clarify that. Bob, you have something to add?
Yes, please.
Well, welcome, Mr. Moses.
Mr. Mayor, Deputy Mayor, Council, City Manager, and City staff, thank you for the opportunity to come out tonight and talk about...
Bob, can you raise that mic up just a little bit?
Can't hear you. Thank you.
Testing? Okay. Thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. I understand Mr. Ayers' concerns. The whole issue of this is what to do about the commercial component. As Wally pointed out, there's a large percentage of this development is to be commercial. And we've struggled with the commercial component since, well, basically day one, and we continue to do it now. And I have not been able to market or find additional people who are willing to come in and sign letters of intent so I could go and get the loans to build a commercial component, which is required. So the residential component still remains strong. The proposal we put forward here would get rid of the commercial component, drastically reduce the traffic that the commercial component would create in that vicinity of the city. And it replaces the residential component, which is going to be over 9 units per acre, down to 7.5. Now, the reason it's high-density residential is because that's the only designation that covers the type of structure housing I want to put there. But we're about, I wouldn't say we're high-density, I would say we're medium-density, and the whole purpose of this was to look at what the city needed, which is age-restricted, more age-restricted residential units, and we would not create a traffic problem. And I've got Mike Bailey here to indicate the traffic numbers. The traffic numbers for what I propose are substantially reduced from what was already approved as a village commercial. And the village commercial, all we had to do was add that entrance onto Wythe Creek. So the number of trips per day is drastically reduced by this plan versus if I stay village commercial and build that by right, it's going to create a lot more traffic than what we currently have proposed. So thank you for your opportunity to share that information.
Thank you, Bob. Appreciate that.
Ask him a question. Yes. How many commercial units do you have in that development now?
I've got 3 in building 1. My office is in the back, got a boutique in front of it, and then I've got the coffee shop. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Bob. I appreciate that. And I would like to add one other comment. I would encourage everybody in attendance to stay until we have the 4th public hearing, just to address that small town environment that we all cherish, and to take action tonight to put a little bit more emphasis on preservation and conservation. So since that subject came up, I just wanted to share that as well. So if there are no further speakers for this resolution, please do.
My name is Chad Barlow. I've lived here since 2017. Like a lot of people, first of all, thank you guys for your service. It takes a lot of time and everything out of everybody, so appreciate you guys serving. Like a lot of the people in this community, like that gentleman, sorry, what was your name? Henry. The legacy thing just sets wrong with people, you know, like you drive by, it's not a welcoming feeling, you look at it, you know, it's not why I moved to Poquoson. We only have so much land in Poquoson that's left where it's going to be presentable to commercial businesses to come in. We only have 1 grocery store, 1 drugstore, no functional gas station for anybody that drags a trailer around, a large boat. You can't get a large trailer system into the Zooms. It doesn't work. Perhaps a gas station would go good there. I mean, it seems like that would make some money, but I know Mr. Moses has, you know, he's doing what he's got to do to make money, but it's like we only have so much land to build on. So once we rezone it to be residential, that's gone. The opportunity is gone. We can't demo the building, rezone it, it's there to stay. So yeah, it's like, please take that into consideration when you guys are voting, because like Henry said, everybody loves the small town feel of Poquoson, and it's starting to not get that way. So yeah, if you guys could take that into consideration, that'd be great. One other thing is, I recently built a house in Poquoson. I have setbacks on my home that was like 50 feet from the house. You drive through Legacy and I could almost jump out of the window to the other people's homes. So maybe even if, why are we granting the setbacks to be so small in that community versus other places where you have to ask, to get less than 50 feet and they're getting 10, 12 feet maybe? It's like, so then you can stack, then you drive through there and you see what you got. But yeah, I just, like I said, I love the place that we live in. I don't want it to turn into something that, we're not proud of. Like I said, thank you guys for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Barlow.
Yeah.
What's your address, please?
107 Pasture Road.
Thank you, buddy.
Yep.
Appreciate that. Any other speakers? Bob, normally we have one term to speak, and then we move on. So I apologize for that. Do we have any other speakers on this topic? Yes, sir.
My name is Jeff Paddock. Live at 14 Twin Creek Road. Moved here in 2021. Kind of came by accident, but we enjoyed the small town feel of Poquoson. But we've lived in a lot of other areas where development got outrageous and not planned and not considered as to how it was done. So mixing commercial and residential gets to be a little iffy. I'd like to see more planning done, forward planning, vision done in the community. A couple of comments on this project. You have an EDA pond right there. I don't know how well it's aerated. Frankly, if there were a house there, I'm over 55, I wouldn't even consider it. I would also not consider any home that has stairs. I happen to have a house that has stairs, but I'm into exercising. But I know a lot of people over 55, when they're downsizing, stairs are a problem. So first floor unit would be much better. But, should not be placed next to a gun range, should not be placed next to a sports bar where you're going to have noise all the time. So my request of the council is that you folks deny this ordinance as presented. Maybe he can create something different, but as Mr. Barlow said, adding more density. And by the way, we both live off of Pasture Road. We have two huge properties over there. One that's 22 acres and one that's 17 acres. I'd like to make sure that those are built out at a very low density because Pasture Road cannot handle more traffic. So that's my 2 cents. Again, thank you very much. And thank you guys for your service. And thank my council people for listening to me and offering to have me come here. Thank you very much.
That's what we're here for. Thank you, Mr. Paddock. Appreciate that. Any other speakers on this topic? All right, with that, I will close the public comment and ask for a motion and a second, please. Yes, sir.
You need a proposal?
I was going to say,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
like I said, I propose a resolution for denial of conditional rezoning request of map parcels 27, TAC 10, TAC 00, TAC 005, 27, TAC 9, TAC 00, TAC 0002, 27, TAC 101, TAC 00, TAC 0087, and 27, TAC 01, TAC tax 00, tax 0086, to rezone the property from VC Village Commercial to conditional R3 residential development. And that was for denial.
Second.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from council members? Yes, sir.
Village commercial is just not working here. We've had it for years, and we can't attract any kind of business or people wanting to live over the business. So we need to rezone it for something else, because the village commercial just don't work. But maybe we can ask planning commission to look into that.
Thank you, Mr. Freeman.
Yeah, I was going to say that when I first heard about this, I started thinking I had asked a question about affordability. Affordable housing is always a topic on the talk shows and things like that. And I know it came up, I believe, during the planning commission meeting that talked about that. But what came up was the fact that, we provide housing for people who are older, 55 and above. I saw that many years ago. That they can get around a lot closer. But the thing is, there's nothing there to get around to if we don't have more commercial stuff. So I tend to favor the commercial aspect of it, as did predecessors back prior to 2012, and in 2012 confirmed that it be commercial. So that's why I propose that motion.
Well, I'm going to make a comment on this also. This is a case that I think the Planning Commission got it right. I see it's going to be 55 plus, but speaking of one of the people who have reached 55 and gone over that number, stairways don't create a good place for elderly people. They just don't. The people spoke with the comprehensive plan. They're tired of high-density housing. I've seen and heard that in the general public. And I'm tired of higher-density housing myself. And so, not Bud's opinion, but from the comments I've heard in the public, they don't want any more high-density housing. 55 plus, the two-story doesn't fit that. And the comprehensive plan is where the people spoke. So I think the Planning Commission got it right this time.
Thank you, Mr. Sallall. Anything else from council members? Here we have a motion and a second, and just to reiterate, the motion is for denial of the request. So an aye vote is for denial. Christie, call for a vote, please.
Councilman Freeman.
No.
Councilwoman Emmett.
Aye.
Councilman Southpaw.
Aye.
Councilman Fye.
Aye.
Councilwoman Hubbard.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Bunting.
Aye.
Mayor Hubbs.
Aye.
Mr. Mayor, the motion carried by a vote of 6-1.
Thank you, Christie. With that, we will close the public hearing related to that particular resolution, and we will open the public hearing for the next resolution, which is for approval or denial of a comprehensive plan amendment request to redesignated tax map parcel 27-10-00-0005, 27-09-00-0002, 27-01-00-0087, and 27-01-00-0086 from village commercial to high density resolution in the 2018 to 2038 comprehensive planned land use map. And with that, our city manager, Randy Wheeler, will give us a briefing. Randy?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. As Mr. Horton said in his previous presentation, with your decision 6-1 to not approve the rezoning, I would say at best an amendment to the comprehensive plan would likely be premature, perhaps premature permanently, but we here to answer any questions you have, but I don't believe that necessitates a new staff report. I just want to open the public hearing, give people an opportunity to speak on this, and And after that, if you have any additional questions, Mr. Horton and I will be glad to answer them.
Thank you, Randy. And with that, we'll open the floor for public comment related to this resolution. Welcome back, Henry.
Thank you all again, and ditto what I said last time.
Thanks, Henry. Do we have any other speakers on this resolution? Questions or comments, council members? All right, with that, we will close the public comment, and I'll ask for a motion in a second.
Mr. Mayor, I recommend a resolution for denial of a comprehensive plan amendment to request to designate tax map parcels 27-10-00-0005, 27-09-00-002, and 27-01-00-0087, and 21-01-00-0086 from village commercial to high-density residential, and the 2018-2038 comprehensive plan use map.
We have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Christie?
Councilman Fye,
Now, an aye is for the denial, correct? Aye.
Vice Mayor Bunting,
Aye.
Councilwoman Emmett,
Aye.
Councilman Freeman,
Aye.
Councilman Southall,
Aye.
Councilwoman Hubbard,
Aye.
Mayor Hooks.
Aye.
Mr. Mayor, the motion carried by a vote of 7-0.
Thank you, Christie, and with that, we will close the public hearing on that topic, and we will open the public hearing for an ordinance to amend Article 8-1, Plan Open Space Conservation Overlay District of Appendix A, zoning of the City of Poquoson Code of Ordinances, and our City Manager, Randy, will give us a briefing on that as well.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, our final public hearing for the evening relates to proposed changes to the city's planned open space conservation overlay district. It is a citywide district, but the reason that it is here, about this time last year, a little earlier, the city council approved its strategic objectives for this mayoral term, and one of those was a careful review of the comprehensive plan as it pertains to the north side of Victory Boulevard, as well as a review of the underlying ordinances. During that review, council reviewed all of the zoning districts that were on the north side, and after consideration, put forward some possible changes, referred them to the Planning Commission a couple of months ago. The Planning Commission held a public hearing on that recently and is submitted their recommendation for approval. Mr. Horton will briefly walk through the 4 proposed changes, and again, these were remanded by the City Council, so they're no stranger to you, but for those that are in the public, this may be the first time to see the actual text. Mr. Horton.
Well, it's kind of short and sweet. So there's 4 main ones, and we'll get to those. First of all, building setback and size requirements. The minimum building setback line between any principal or accessory dwelling and any public street or public or private street shall be no less than 35 feet. A minimum boundary buffer of 100 feet, which we require from business, from any non-residential district, and 40, we're going to go from 40 to 50 feet from an existing residential district. So you'll have an increase in the side buffers. A minimum of 55%, up from 50%, of the gross land area must be devoted to open space. And basically, of that open space, when you're looking at the non-tidal wetlands on the property, instead of counting 50% like you used to be able to do, you count 35% towards open space.
Excuse me, don't you mean 25%, Mr. Horton?
Did I say 25%?
No, sir, you said 35%.
I stand corrected, 25%. And this is planned open space development. There used to be, the way it is currently, up to 10 lots for a private street. Now it's no more than 6 lots for a private street. The planning commission did vote 5-0 to recommend approval of this ordinance for city council. And I'll be happy to take any questions you might have.
Council members, any question for Wally? If I could provide just a little bit of context, last year, the city council, with a lot of help from our professional staff, tightened this ordinance up a little bit. We set minimum lot size at a quarter of an acre last year.
11,000 square feet.
Yes, sir. And we also established the side setback and front setback, I believe.
Yes. We actually didn't have a rear setback before last year.
So that was some improvements that we made last year. And council has taken the initiative this year in our ongoing effort to be sensitive to the desires of citizens. You got 7 sets of eyes and ears up here, and we are constantly looking and listening so we can stay in touch with the desires of those that we serve. But we're also obligated to be respectful of the interest of the rights of private property owners to develop their property. So what we strive to do is to find that happy medium, that healthy compromise between the two. So we've taken this ordinance, we looked at it again this year, and we've tightened it up slightly to put slightly more emphasis on conservation, preservation. So we sincerely hope that those that we serve are happy with what we're doing. A tremendous amount of effort goes into it, and it's a group effort with all council members working together with staff. We focus on that collaborative approach, and we strive to reach a consensus. And I want to give a shout out to Chairwoman Heather Schott and our planning commissioners again for their support on this topic. We really do appreciate that. So I will go ahead and open the floor for public comment related to this ordinance. Yes, sir, Mr. Paddock.
I'll make one other quick comment. So as I understand it, how does this impact Western District? Because Western District has a minimum lot size for a low density of .62. And how will this impact that aspect? Because I would like to see .62 or larger size of properties.
This is not usually intended to be a question and answer, okay. But in this case, it's pretty straightforward and basic. As the manager has explained during his lengthy tenure of 17 years, this particular ordinance is the only one that has been used during his time here. It is, from what I can understand, less expensive for the developers to use. So therefore, it seems to be the preferred. So that's why we have tightened it up. And as everybody can see, if this passes tonight, 55% of a parcel it will be left in the undeveloped state. So the way we do that is we have to shrink the lots and trying to strike that happy medium between the landowner rights and the desires of the citizens. So we think that we've done that.
Yes. I would object to that, but that's...
Thank you, sir. Do appreciate that. Any other comments?
That was what I just wanted to find out, so it's going to impact it negatively from what I understand. So Thank you.
Could I clarify?
Yes, sir.
We're talking about amendments to an already existing legislation, or it's already on the books, and each of the changes proposed should have the effect of reducing or minimizing development further. So just wanted to be clear, this wasn't a new ordinance, these are just four plan changes.
I understand, and Jeannie had explained to me about lot sizes in Western District, and I have concerns about two very large parcels on Pasture Road, which I live off of, and the size of Pasture Road, and its ability to handle traffic. And try to drive down it tomorrow during the day when the linemen are out. So,
All right. Thank you, Mr. Pat. I mean, please feel free to call on us anytime. We'll be glad to discuss it with you further.
All right, thank you very much.
Thanks, sir. Appreciate that.
Are we able to comment now or no?
Sure. Yes, ma'am.
This is in regards to the Big Woods, the north side of Victory. It's not about pasture. This is Central Precinct. Is that correct?
The overlay district is over all of our residential districts.
Thank you.
Thought I was
That's what
clear
I
about
needed
it.
to hear.
Sorry if I wasn't.
Thank you.
Yeah, this will take effect
Everybody.
citywide. Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Mayor, may I seek clarification from Randy, just to make sure that I understand the planned open space conservation overlay district. If I understand it, and I might not correctly, so if you do have a parcel of land, say 20 acres, it would allow you to put the same quantity of dwellings there. It's just how they are placed within the parcel. They would be closer together to allow more, to cluster the open space and cluster the dwelling. Is that right?
Well, yeah, it's hard to speak to a hypothetical piece of property because setbacks, wetlands, tidal wetlands, non-tidal wetlands all play a role. But I would say, and Mr. Horton can correct me if I get this wrong, but essentially it is the same density. However, a significant portion of the land is preserved as open space. So there, you look at the entire parcel, there's not more density. It's just constricted to a subsection of the total property. Mr. Horton, you want to add anything to that?
I think that's true, because keep in mind, we've got 11,000 square feet for lot sizes in that district. But as the city manager said, it's hard to speak to a hypothetical because each piece of property might have a different amount of non-tidal wetlands, and that sort of thing. But it is still a cluster ordinance, if you will.
Thank you.
Well, Wally, just to help provide some clarification, if the traditional subdivision ordinance was used, we would have homes distributed throughout the property without 55% of it left in undeveloped open space.
Right. Are you talking about an open space subdivision, or if you're talking about a conventional, we don't have any open space?
That's correct.
Yes.
So in a conventional subdivision, there is no requirement
Right.
for open space beyond wetlands
Right.
not allowed to touch.
Yes, so while the minimum lot size is larger than this,
Yes.
you don't have all this 55% left in undeveloped
Yeah,
open
you don't have
space.
the preservation aspect of it. What you have is bigger lots, so you have bigger private properties that, may or may not be kept up, but there's no open space per se.
Yes, sir. So that's what we're trying to do with this, is put a little bit more emphasis on that conservation and preservation.
Right.
I have a question. So this planned open space conservation overlay that we're speaking to right now.
Yes.
So if we're changing from 50% to 55, buffer of 50 feet from an existing instead of 40. So if you had that piece of property, like hypothetically, like Angie was speaking about, since we put these additional and we've made it open space larger,
Yes.
that would, then less houses would probably fit on the property. When this is approved
that would
than
be
before
fair
it
to
was
say.
approved.
That would be fair to say, yes.
Okay.
And with the conventional, you wouldn't have the buffers.
No, you wouldn't.
With the conventional, every tree could be taken off
It
the
could be,
property
if they get a
wanted
land
to.
disturbance permit, in accord with all our regulations, they could clear the whole thing out. Absolutely.
This puts some protections in place.
Yes.
And it also, a huge possibility that there would be less density on the property, less homes built because of this additional requirements or
That's true.
make it, okay.
That's true. Let me see one thing I didn't go, and I don't want to get it, but non-tidal wetlands and wetlands, we generally don't want anybody to build on those anyway. But, so, that'd be the only caveat I'd add.
Thank you, Wally, appreciate that.
I have one more question.
Yes, ma'am.
So, once more for the explain it to me like I'm 5. This is to have less density in developments.
That's correct.
Thank you.
And put slightly more emphasis on conservation.
Conservation,
And preservation.
right.
Yes, ma'am.
The 5-year-old is happy.
Switching one for you.
Yes. Any other speakers? There's one gentleman right behind you, Wally. Good evening and welcome.
Hey, good evening. Brad Drummond, have a property, I think it's officially listed as 000 Victory Boulevard. My question is whether or not this affects the commercial property.
Ex-commercial property?
Commercial.
It does not, sir.
Okay, all right.
Strictly residential. Thanks, sir. Any other speakers? All right, with that, I'll close the public comment section and ask for a motion and a second.
Mr. Mayor, I propose an ordinance amending Article Roman numeral 8.1, Planned Open Space Conservation Overlay District of Appendix A, zoning of the City of Poquoson Code of Ordinances.
Second.
Thank you. Christie?
Councilwoman Hubbard?
Aye.
Councilman Southall?
Aye.
Councilman Freeman?
Aye.
Councilwoman Emmett?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Bunting?
Aye.
Councilman Fye?
Aye.
Mayor Hucks?
Aye.
Mr. Mayor, the motion carried by a vote of 7-0.
Thank you, Christie. Appreciate that. And with that, the public hearing is closed. And we'll move on to item G, new business. We have 2 topics under new business. The first is a resolution making appointments to the Economic Development Authority. Do we have a motion and a second?
Mr. Mayor, I propose a resolution appointing Mr. Alan E. Metz and Mr. Donald F. Booth, Jr. to the Economic Development Authority. Both terms expire 31 March 2030.
Second.
Thank you. Any questions or comments on that? Christie?
Councilman Southall?
Aye.
Councilman Freeman?
Aye.
Councilwoman Hubbard? Aye. Vice Mayor Bunting?
Aye.
Councilman Fye?
Aye.
Councilwoman Emmett?
Aye.
Mayor Hucks? Mr. Mayor, the motion carried by a vote of 7-0.
Thank you, Christie. Next topic under new business is a resolution making appointments to the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board. Do we have a motion and a second?
Mr. Mayor, I propose a resolution appointing Ms. Sarah Watkins, Eastern, Ms. Megan Johnson, Western, and Mr. John Quinn, Central, to the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board. These terms expire on March 31, 2029.
Second.
Questions or comments? Very well. Christie?
Vice Mayor Bunting?
Aye.
Councilman Fye?
Aye.
Aye.
Councilman Freeman?
Aye.
Councilwoman Hubbard?
Aye.
Councilwoman Emmett?
Aye.
Mayor Hucks?
Aye.
Mr. Mayor, the motion carried by a vote of 7-0.
Thank you, Christie. And we'll move on to item H, comments of the city manager. Randy?
Nothing this evening, sir.
Thank you, Randy. Item I, council directives. Jeannie?
Show choir, I think, did a clean sweep at their final competition this past week. Yay. And the band and all of it. It was fantastic. Other than that, that was my announcement.
Thank you, Jeannie. Keith?
2 things, sir. The first one is, I think everybody should have received a mailing from the police department this week, talking about e-bikes, bicycles, golf carts, and things like that, rules. I'm eager to hear the feedback that the city gets to the police department on what is, I think it's excellent materials I have right here, but just like to hear back from whenever they get feedback, hopefully good feedback. Second thing is a special thanks to the Poquoson Elementary School Student Council had a cereal collection. I don't know if anybody's seen the Facebook posts and stuff like that, but they collected 338 boxes of cereal for the Shine Food Pantry last week and delivered them. They kind of overloaded the plate with all these boxes of cereal. And if you go to the Facebook page, someone came up with the idea of like dominoes, when you knock one domino down, has a ring of dominoes. They did that with cereal boxes all down the halls. It's a pretty neat little video that they did there. But thanks to the Poquoson Elementary School for 338 boxes of cereal for the pantry. That's it.
Thank you, Keith. Debbie?
I would like to thank everyone that came out tonight. I'm so pleased that we have an audience and that we had speakers. And for those that contact us, each members individually, your concerns, definitely hear them. I love to hear what the community, feels about things. It's just not what we think. We're here to serve the community, so we really need that input and appreciate that. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Debbie. Mr. Freeman?
Only thing I have is I just wanted to announce that I don't plan to run again for the Eastern Council slot. It'll be, at the end of this term, it'll be 24 years on council, and we need younger folks.
Thank you, Mr. Freeman, and might I add that before Councilman Freeman's service on council, he also served 6 years on the school board. So that'll give him a nice round figure of 3 decades in elected and appointed public office. So appreciate your contributions over the decades, Mr. Freeman.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. And credit where credit's due. Angie?
I echo what Debbie said. That was well said. Thank you. Also, I volunteer with the Colonial Coast Girl Scout Cavers group. We take a couple of trips a year to West Virginia and go to wild caves. They are kind of very much hidden away caves, not your typical tourist cave with lights and paths. You wear the knee pads and the helmet with the light and coveralls, and you army crawl and you scramble and do all the things and get in really tight spaces and figure out ways to get out of the hole once you go down into the hole. But we have a trip coming up April 23rd through the 26th. If you are someone with a daughter or a granddaughter 12 and over, they don't currently have to be a Girl Scout. You can pay the $25, I think it's $25 registration fee to become a Girl Scout. The cost of the trip is $120 for new cavers. That gets you 2 full days of caving, 2 different caves, and all the fun experience that comes around those 2 days of caving. There's a new caver orientation on March 29th, so that's coming up. So if you're interested in registering, and it's just such a unique experience for these girls and just a huge confidence booster, and I cannot recommend it enough. But you can look up the Colonial Coast Girl Scout Cavers. You can call me. My number's online if you're interested in.
Thank you, Angie. Mr. Southall?
Yeah, I'd like to second Debbie's comments relative to the people who came out tonight. Thank especially Chad, Henry Ayers, Jeff Pollock, and Bob Moses for being involved in their public business. I'd also like to thank everybody at home who paid attention to the city government, and invite you all to invite your friends to pay attention to the city government. City government is one of the best governments you have. better, I think, than the state and the federal. However, okay, all of them deserve you to pay attention to them. And I have to apologize. Last week I misspoke, okay? I made a comment, and I was accosted by my friend, Mr. Freeman, who said, when we got in the call, he said, well, you said you hate politicians, and I'm not one. I'm an elected official. And I differ with him on occasion because his liberal side gets the best of him just once in a while, and he goes from elected official to politician. Okay? However, okay, I made a public comment that I hate politicians, and my wife accosted me when I got home for that and said, no, you don't. Okay? And so she's right. I do not hate politicians. Okay? I hate it when elected officials act like politicians. Okay? When they start voting for a particular party or ideology, okay, which both sides do, okay, which both sides do, then they become not elected officials but politicians. Okay? That, by the way, is occurring right now in the state of Virginia. Apparently, some of the politicians in the state of Virginia aren't acting like elected officials and are not voting in the interest of the public. Okay? And so what they want us to do is make Virginia's elections illegal, okay? And so they can compensate for another state's elections that may or may not be illegal, okay? And so two wrongs don't make a right. Let's keep Virginia, okay, as legal as we can get it. You know, if anybody wants to think about gerrymandering, look at Bobby Scott's district, okay? Just take a look and see what it is, okay? I think it was made that way for reasons other than the public good. But I think Bobby Scott is a really good man, and he's done a lot of good things for Virginia. And I think he got elected whether it was gerrymandered like that or not. And so let's keep Virginia's elections fair. We're not going to make our elections unfair just because another state may. If we did that, then they say, well, gosh, maybe Texas did it unfair. Oh, so Virginia did it unfair. Let's let West Virginia be unfair, and then Kentucky, and so forth, and then no state will have fair elections. Wrong thing to do. We'll vote no in the upcoming elections. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Southall. Appreciate that.
I sounded like a politician, didn't I? Okay. But I did it in the interest of the people.
Of course, of course. I'd like to thank Mr. Jason Ernzen for his IT support again tonight. So thank you, Jason. Much appreciated. And I'd also like to comment that it's such a blessing, and we are forever grateful to live in a community to where we can have this kind of respectful, civil discourse. And I thought we had some good dialogue tonight, a lot of good contributions from all involved. On your way home tonight, just pay attention to the military memorial out front. We have 18 names carved in stone of men that were once Poquoson boys, just like me, and they all sacrificed their very lives so we can sit here and do what we did tonight. Always want to remember them and recognize them. Be mindful and so thankful that we are so fortunate to live in a community like this. So thank you to all involved. With that, I'll ask for a motion and a second for adjournment.
So moved, Mr. Mayor.
Second.
Thank you. Christie?
Councilwoman Emmett?
Aye.
Councilwoman Hubbard?
Aye.
Councilman Fye?
Aye.
Councilman Southall?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Bunting?
Aye.
Councilman Freeman?
Aye.
Mr. Mayor, the motion carried by a vote of 7-0.
Thank you, Christie. We are adjourned.